What's up, guys? Luca here. Luca Tio, yes, the Ashen one, the Ashen Lucario, the Ashen Luca. It's me. I'm here with another episode of the show. Today will be, let's see here. I'll do the show today, right? But I'm going out of town next week, so there will be no show next week, okay? But then we'll be back on the 21st. Um, and we'll get it all rolling and raring to go. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm really excited to be here. There's a lot of interesting topics that I'm personally looking forward to discussing. Concord being one of them. R.I.P. Concord. And then this Doctor Disrespect scenario, this Doctor Disrespect situation occurring. Things going on with the Doc. The Doc comes through and gives his side of the story. He gives his perspective of what's going on. Hashtag cancel culture at work once again. Hashtag the woke mob is out of control. Hashtag the doc did nothing wrong. Yes, we will be discussing that. Those are some of the comments that I actually got when I was discussing it earlier, which is interesting. It's people reveal a lot about themselves in the things that they say, and I don't even think they realize what they're revealing based on what they defend, how they phrase certain things, how they present themselves. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be discussing. Well, I will be discussing the Doctor Disrespect situation, but Singer and I will be discussing the Concord situation. So Singer, you want to share your screen?
Y-
We want to talk about this Concord?
Yes, and thank goodness. I gave it too much credit. I thought it was going to last for at least a month, a couple of months, but even my expectations were blown out of the water. It's crazy.
I was shocked. Okay. So Concord came out to little fanfare. Shout out to Slow Mo. He played it. Shout out to Jay Bari and Persona. They played it. Shout out to oh dear, I can't remember his name. Tony New Yokio. I think he got the platinum for it. So shout out
And
to all
Kofi.
those guys. Oh, and
Hmm.
Kofi too. Okay, so shout out to all those
Yeah,
guys. Go ahead.
they because they were in the Discord, and it got so bad. Like they were playing it on the Steam Deck because they were trying to grind it to the very last moment. And it was absolutely hilarious because everyone is just roasting them about it, trying to get the platinum because it's a super rare platinum. But staying up all kinds of hours playing playing Concord just to try and get the platinum. That's it. That's all they wanted. Uh, no, that's commitment right there.
I mean, honestly speaking, say whatever you want about like this game in particular, but at least those guys actually play their games. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll talk,
Hmm.
they'll talk their smack, but they put that time in, And I have to always J Bari and Persona especially is like however anybody else may feel about the games, J Bari and Persona play their games, you know what I'm saying? And there's so many people who will like cap for a game, but will like have 5 minutes in it, an hour in it. They barely put any time in, right? And then it's like, it's like, guys, you guys did not actually play this game. And it's like, well, Luca, why are you looking at our stuff? Okay, don't look at our stats, Luca. That kind of stuff, right? But J Bar and Persona, regardless of how anyone else may feel about it and however I may feel about it, they play their game. So shout out to them for that. But Concord's dead. All right. It was dead in the water when it arrived, and it's dead now. I don't know for sure how much money they put into this game, but however much money it was too much because it is a net loss. Okay. Like they shut this down. They shut this shit down with a fucking swiftness. They didn't even give the game. They didn't even give the game a chance. Okay, I can't even. I mean, with
I mean,
less than 500 players, come on, like yeah.
to be fair, it is on them because they completely missed what the gaming community wanted. Like
Hmm.
the mission statement for what the community wanted was made in 2016 with Overwatch. There's your template, right? The perfect template. Overwatch was a resounding success, and they gave you the template right there. How the characters, how the maps, how the things, right? They went, we'll do something like this. Yeah, it turns out people actually don't want that boring ass characters, like no skins, nothing to chase. Like none of the characters, like budget Guardians of the Galaxy. There's no like exciting characters. There's no cheeks. Like like look at Widowmaker, look at Mercy, look at Farah, look at Tracer, and then look at the characters in these games. You'll see a difference. Like I don't know, they completely missed the mark.
Oh, 100%. And like for me, especially, and I've mentioned this before, I remember seeing when the game was first announced, I remember sitting there like watching the show and I was just kind of like, are we jaded? Am I jaded? Maybe I'm just jaded. This looks like trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we're all into different things. Maybe trash is a harsh word. This looks like something I'm not interested in. I'll phrase it like that. This looks like something that I personally am just not interested in. And honestly speaking, it takes a lot for me to be interested in a game in general. So, what does that really mean, right? But I was just like, I was really disinterested. The gameplay, when they did show the gameplay, did not look interesting at all. The characters, I was not appealing at all to me. And me personally, I like to see, as someone who struggles in regards to the looks aspect, I like
No,
to
you don't.
project. I like to project and just, really to be like, "Ah, maybe I could see something beautiful in front of me since it's not gonna be my face," you know what I'm saying? But, like, yeah, I like to see beautiful things, whether it's men or women, Like, when I played The Witcher 3, for example, I beat that game, I think 4 times, I think? 3 times? I think I beat it 3 or 4 times, something like that, right? You guys check my stats. I
Hmm.
played it on Xbox and PlayStation, right? But yeah, I like to dress Geralt up. Geralt is so handsome, so that's what I would do. I've been on record saying this. I would have played Horizon Zero Yawn for longer than 10 hours if Aloy was something nice for me to look at. For me, okay? You can call me a gooner. Is that the terminology
I
these
I
days?
don't know. I don't know. I
I
think it is.
I don't know. Yeah, you can call me a gooner or an incel, you know what I'm saying? That's all good. But yeah, I like to look at beautiful things, and the Concord game, nothing interesting there. And also it's like the cosmetics they had were also not cute at all. I was like, this is not
Nope.
cute. I don't want to dress up these characters because their characters are not cute and the outfits are not cute. Therefore, I don't want to play this game. And some people are like, well, it's about gameplay. And I'm just like, listen, yes, that is an important aspect of it. But there's more than just one aspect of a game. Visuals matter as well. So Concord is dead. So
But
let's go ahead.
they also missed a couple of things.
Okay.
You made it a hero shooter. The maps are too small and no ultimate abilities for your heroes. That's what everyone's
Mm.
looking for in a like when I use Diva, I'm looking for the shoot my mech over there and blow everyone up. Or if I'm using Hanzo, I'm expected to shoot double blue dragons across the map that goes through walls, right? Something big, something a spectacle that it's like this feels powerful. I can affect the game. We could be losing. There's like 10 seconds on the clock. We need to take back the objective. Everyone pops their ultimates and you're back in the game, right? There's none of that here. And then the shooting, I mean, it looks fine. The abilities look fine. I mean, there's like a budget Farah. You could clearly see they've taken some bits and bobs from different games. And that was my always problem is it's not unique. It's just a mashup of Overwatch and a couple of other games. You just mash it all up, stir it in a pot, then you add some pronouns, and you add some not very good looking characters, and then you keep mixing it up. You're like, oh yeah, this is gonna slap. Yeah, no, it's not gonna slap. Marvel Rivals. See, this is the difference. They made a game as well in the hero shooter genre, but guess what? They copied Overwatch and they put their own little twist on it. And guess what? It was successful in the beta. So I mean, shout out to them for trying something new, but
I guess.
it's not what the gamers wanted. So
I feel
yeah.
like it's so hard. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it isn't hard. What is it hard to ask and see what the gamers want? I'll give you an example. Black Myth Wukong. How much did that sell? Let me look that up again. Black Myth Wukong sold 18 million copies in the first 2 weeks, right? And I feel like that's a game that people were like looking for. Like that's the game that people were saying, "This is what I want. I want a cool looking character. I want great graphics. I want a spectacle. I want great backgrounds and gameplay." Like it hit all the boxes for a lot of people, right? And so that game was a success. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like it's interesting to see like what kind of games end up being successful versus what games end up being complete and utter failures like Concord is, right? So we can go ahead and go through this article, right?
Yep.
But it's like, okay, so this is by the Firewalk Studios game director. They're definitely shutting that studio down. So I really hope everybody at that studio is able to get back on their feet and
No, they're
find.
not, Luca.
Oh, they're not?
No, because they
Oh,
need to make
okay.
a sequel. They need to make a
Oh,
sequel
okay.
called The Titanic. And
Oh,
then they
okay,
need to make
okay.
a third game called The Hindenburg. No, but
Oh, okay, okay.
seriously, they're probably not gonna get closed down. They'll probably be made a support studio or like, or be folded into something like how Japan Studio was folded into Sony itself and how Bungie looks like it's gonna be folded into Sony. So I would something like that. I doubt they'd totally get rid of the studio.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get rid of them personally. Like this
Oh.
kind of fucking failure, I don't know, dude. I think they're gonna get rid of them. So I hope they don't, and everybody's able to, everything's fine, everyone lands on their feet. But I personally think that they are like, they're like, get the fuck up out of here, y'all. But yeah, so, so game director of Firewalk Studios, Ryan Ellis says, Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC. I want to thank everyone who's joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, if many qualities of the experience resonated, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game in our initial launch didn't land the way that we intended. Therefore, at this time, we've decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 and PC. If you purchase the game for PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original payment method. Customers who purchase from other digital storefronts will also be refunded. More information about refunds from Steam and Epic can be found below, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So it's been 2 weeks again since the game launched. A complete and utter failure if I've ever seen one. Now they're talking about like, hey, we're going to take it offline for now. We'll see what happens. Do you think that there's a chance that this game will ever come back after they take some time to I don't know.
The only way this game comes back is if they completely redo the maps, redo the characters, and make it free to play, and they have to redo all the cosmetics and make something to chase, put a battle pass in your game. I know it sounds bad, but you need to give people something to chase. You need like a gold skin. There has to be something that people want to keep coming back, getting the new content. And they'll also have to add ultimates in the game, so they're gonna have to change the gameplay and they're gonna have to make the maps a bit bigger. So there's a lot they'll have to do. Because if unless they go, okay, it's not going to be a hero shooter anymore, we're going to make it an arena shooter, which is what it should have been. Now, if they go, okay, let's abandon the hero shooter idea and we go arena shooter, now they're onto something. I think that's their avenue. Personally. What about you, Luca? Luca? All right, well, I'm on my own. So yeah, no, there was some good skins. Saber Zero. No, no, no. They were all reskins of the same skin, recolors. And then the final skin didn't even look that good either, right? You just had the same skin in green, in blue, in red, in yellow, and it's still just the same costume on the same crappy character. So no. I guess Luca crashed, yeah, chat.
Oh no, I'm
Just
still here. Sorry.
oh
Sorry. But yeah, no, I mean, listen, I'm actually with you. I think it's gonna be a no as well. I would be shocked if Sony actually put more money into this after everything that happened with this game. Like, but it would be nice to have like a nice little comeback. You know what I'm saying? It'd be nice if they put some, put additional funds into it. I don't think they will, but it would be nice if they did and maybe did like a complete rework as you were stating before, right? And
Mhm.
maybe so the 500 people that did play this game can have some time to enjoy the game once more, and maybe you can build a bigger community and you're not running into the same 5 people over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? The fact that this game 500 people on Steam, sorry, and however many on PlayStation. So, but however many it was just the shit was just not enough, right? Just not enough. But
Yeah.
all right. But let me say hi. What's up, Meat Puppet, A Silent Saiyan, Capono, Arcade, Breeski, King Metrotron, Iman, TZ, Dorian, Viper, Blade X, Web, Dave, Leaky, John John the Don, King Metrotron, Shadow Reaver, Saber, my favorite pony. Shadow Reaver, I did say I. Drew Tube, Gregor, Dashiel, Foxy. What's up, guys? Yeah. 25K sales is not worth revisiting, so I'd be shocked to see it come back. Facts. The final skin for some of the characters made them look completely different, and those weren't all the suns that were that were preseason content, and the cosmetic store was supposed to launch in October. Well, it didn't launch soon enough, buddy. Did not launch soon enough. What's up,
Yep.
Deathloid? Hashtag Legion of Scum. I know that's fucking right. Scrap all that. Just add tits, and the weirdos will play. Instead of alts, make it so getting kills make the characters' cup sizes and asses bigger. It sounds like a little bitter. Sounds a little bitter. You know, a little jaded, my boy. Just a little, Gregor. Just a little. Saber says those are good skins. They're very basic skins, actually, in my opinion.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if you look at, I play a game with a lot of skins, and I got like 800 skins in League, and every single one of them is different, like in game and visually. Like and most of them are absolutely gorgeous. Like you could make any one of those skins a wallpaper on your PC. You could put it up on your wall. Like they are just beautifully done. They're artists right to this world. Trust me. Concord ain't it when it comes to skins. It's just the same skin in red, green, blue, yellow. Then you have a final skin, which makes some of them look even worse. So it's not even worth getting the final skin. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah. But that's just my opinion. That's just my perspective. You know what I'm saying? Again, like I just as in it's just not something that appeals to me, and honestly speaking, not something that appealed to a lot of people, considering the sales were fucking abysmal, right? So it's just like, have we seen anything like this before? It feels a bit unprecedented. Where it's just
No,
like, yeah,
this is the first. This is a
yeah.
first. Like, there is no. This has to be one of the biggest failure in out of the big three. To be honest,
Mm,
I just don't think there's anything anything more worse than that, because even Bleeding Edge lasted a year. Like,
mm.
I mean, and shout out to Lawbreakers, as people rag on it, it still lasted longer than Concord. So
Mm-hmm. I think I saw Cliffy be like, "Hey guys, I can relate. Good luck, y'all," or some shit or whatever. So, what's up, Albert? Go ahead.
that's what's crazy, because he would know about a failing game,
I
and
know.
that's what made it crazy. Because I was like, hang on a minute, this is the same guy that did Lawbreakers, but I guess you'd understand. Let me share my screen a second, Luca. I got something
Okay.
to show.
Okay.
There we go. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Look at. Whoops. Nope.
Okay. Please don't expose.
Nope.
Okay.
No, none of
Okay.
it is. No. That's what I was
Okay.
looking for.
Okay.
Look at that artwork for the skin. Tell me that isn't
Very nice.
visually beautiful.
Very beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, God, look how gorgeous that is. I even made it the wallpaper on my PC because it's just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
Yeah. Well. Again, we're all into we're all into different things. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. RIP to Concord, and sorry to everybody who was actually interested in that game. Fucking sucks, but also it is what it fucking is, right? No. Okay, so Astrobot. So PS Rewind mentioned this in the chat. Going from releasing dog shit to releasing fire. So Astrobot, okay, sitting at a 94 based on 115 critic reviews, universal acclaim. All right. And then the user score 9.6 based on 377 user reviews. Okay, you know, we're doing the whole does Metacritic matter or not. Metacritic matters to the developers and these publishers, and to a lot more gamers than people would actually like to acknowledge themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
AstroBot is a banger. And also something I didn't play. Okay, so normally, guys, okay, so Singer and Slomo are the people who play the games on this fucking podcast. I just show up, make a few quips, and then leave. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Didn't play this game, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. You know, and I like to try and be honest with you guys. I mean, you guys are try to be out. You guys know I don't play any fucking games, so there's that, right? But it's just like, yeah, it's looking like it's a banger. I personally don't have any interest in it. Um, but I'm happy that they were able to score so high on such a title, and it's kind of like, for the most part, kind of washing the bad taste of Concord out of people's mouths. And maybe that's like
Mhm.
cruel slash rude to say, because it's just kind of like, I'm sure those developers at Firewalk are devastated, right? Um, you know, some others may say like perhaps they could see that coming too. I don't know, but yeah, I just think it's great that at least we have a win somewhere, right? And I've been seeing like
Yep.
so many people. Some people are saying that this year is dry, but over the span of like a month, I've seen multiple people say, "This is now my game of the year. This is my game of the year. Now this is my game of the year." You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen that for Black Myth Wukong. I saw it for
Space
Astrobot
Marine
for
2
Space
is my
Marines
game of the
2.
year.
Okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you know, it's how about you guys in the chat? You guys playing that Astrobot?
The funny thing is, AstroBot is doing incredibly well, but people, we're having this discussion in the Discord because it's full of PlayStation, Nintendo, whatever, and we're having a discussion. This Wii Universe is great, but when people say, "Oh, this is up there with Mario," thing is, you can't do that yet because Mario is a franchise that has always been top tier and has done it for decades. AstroBot, this is the second game in the series. You can't put them in the same echelon. Mario has been up there. Eventually, he'll get there if they keep making games. But Mario is always up there. And every single time they do it, Mario Wonder came out. Before that, you had Odyssey. Like, it keeps hitting these 90s top quality. So you can't really put them in the same ballpark because Nintendo maintains that, whereas Astrobot has just reached that. So
Mm-hmm.
I would think it would be only fair to the Mario games because, you know, you've been top tier for so many years.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm gonna pull up the best games of 2024 so far. I'll start at like top 10 or whatever. Okay, so actually I'll do. Okay, so we got Shin Megami Tensei 5, Vengeance, which is PS5.
Good
Is this
game. It's everywhere. Vengeance is
uh,
everywhere.
okay. Persona 3 Reload, aka listen, that shit was
Oh,
fire.
Persona 3 Reload is
Oh my
fire.
god,
Like,
that was so much fun. I love that game.
mhm,
Yeah, no, I was like
yeah,
fucking yeah, no, I really enjoyed Persona 3 Reload. I had a really good time with that. Mullet Mad Jack. It's a PC game. Okay. Um, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Okay. This looks
yeah,
kind
of
of fun.
course.
Lorelette. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, see, it's just another Mario game. Like
Hmm.
Mario is always there.
Yeah. Number 6 is Laura Lee and the Laser Eyes, which is on the Switch. Okay. Uh, Number 5 is Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. Okay.
Fantastic game. Everyone should play like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Like that was my highlight of the year until Space Marine 2. Fantastic game.
Sweet. Tekken 8. Okay. Um, Balatro. Okay. It's a PC title. Animal Well, which is also a PC title. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Okay. So those were the top titles of 2024. And then of course we got that Black Myth Wukong. And then we have some other titles too. We got this Astrobot. Oh, hello, can my screen go up? We got Astrobot. We got some Ace Attorney. All right. Got this game called, what is this? Bakeru. Okay. Yeah, man, like I'm looking some of okay, it's kind of looking a little spooky actually at some of these.
But
I'm looking at some of these. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thing is, that some of the games that I think should be higher, like they didn't ain't in the top cut. Like I think Space Marine 2 is rated way, way, way too low. But I think Space Marine 2 suffers from it's a dude bro shooter, and people are like the controversy of there's no women.
Oh,
People
brother.
say people saying lack of diversity, even though two of the Space Marines in your squad are black dudes and there's one Asian dude, but no diversity. Okay, sure, it's just all white men. Um, and it's like you do understand that the Warhammer has been around since like the 80s, and the reason women can't become space marines is because the gene seed only works with men. It doesn't work with women. They tried, and every time it failed. So therefore, you can't have female space marines. And then everyone brought up the female custodies in the TV show. Why do you think Henry Cavill, a massive Warhammer fan, left that show? Because they're pulling bullshit. So there we go. Like, I mean, don't know what to tell you. So I think all of that. But if you want to talk visuals and gameplay and how good the game is, oh, Space Marine 2 is easily. It should be up there. But the media got a hold of it.
Really? I actually have not seen I've seen a couple people praising it, but I've not seen any like backlash like you were referring to regarding
Oh,
it.
I've been seeing it because I follow a couple of Space Marine things on Twitter, and I see
Mhm.
people like, "Oh, don't buy Space Marine because it doesn't have LGBTQ and whatnot." And I'm like,
Oh, okay.
you understand humanity's on the brink of destruction. Everything's absurdly horrid. People die in their billions. Entire planets are blown up. You have all manner of creatures and demons trying to destroy you from the warp. I think the last thing they're worrying about is their LGBTQs, to be honest. I think that's pretty low on the scale of what the fuck do I need to worry about in this universe? Like,
Yeah, the way I feel about it, I I've said this for years, I prefer I typically prefer media that has, like, original media with original characters, typically. There's some exceptions here and there where it's if the the show is better than the source material, I'm sorry, but The Boys TV show is significantly better than The Boys comic. The Boys comic is really bad, actually. I read it, but that shit is trash, okay? And they make a lot of, changes. They change, women into men, or I'm sorry, men into women. They've changed characters. They made them Black, Asian, that kind of thing, right? But The Boys TV show is significantly better written than The Boys comic. So for that kind of thing, it's like, okay, so this is fine, right? But then there's like other forms of media where it's just like, let's just do a gender swap this, a gender swap that. And my girl Jenna Ortega, aka the It Girl, was all like, I don't want to play like a gender swap version of a character. I think we should have our own characters. And it's like, exactly. But it's like, it really is the messenger. You know what I'm saying? Like the messenger. Because if
mhm.
anybody else had fucking said that shit, incel, women
Yep.
hating sexist, you fucking bastard, you white male bastard, that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, I prefer things that have original properties with original characters 9 times out of 10, and then, there will be some exceptions here and there where I'm like, "No, this shit this just the writing is just fucking fire, dude, I'm sorry." Like, the writing is so good, I can look past certain things, you know what I'm saying? So but because that's the thing, like, a lot of the times where at least, lately, I really just me personally, I'm just not a fan of, and it's not a lot, like, people are exaggerating when they act like it's, like, every new thing that comes out. It's really not. Some some forms of media here and there, right? I'll give an example. So I was watching the Marvels because I like oh gosh, I was gonna say I like her. I can't remember her name right now. Hold on. The chick from the Marvels. Let's see here. Captain Marvel actor. How much do I like her? Clearly not. I like Brie Larson. I have no issues with her. I listened to the statement she made on diversity years ago when she made it. I listened to the full context of it. I was like, okay, what she said wasn't even that bad. People are like tripping. They're taking things out of context. They were attributing what she said to the fucking Captain Marvel movie when it was like talking about some random ass film that she was in beforehand or whatever that was a part of beforehand, right? That did not do very well. So it's just like I like Brie Larson and I like Carol Danvers. Okay, I think she's hot. And, yeah, so I had no issues, I went in, I sat my ass down, I was sitting on my bed, I was watching the Marvels, and as I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, this dialogue is quite interesting." I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Like and don't get me wrong, I have skipped out on several of the more modern Marvel films. I did not watch Ant-Man. Um Shit, what else happened? I did not watch that fucking Thor film that came out, the last one that came out. I didn't watch any I've not watched any of the Disney Plus shows since WandaVision, and the end of WandaVision pissed me off, so I was just like, "I'm not watching the rest of this shit," right? So it's like
Yeah.
oh, and Multiverse of Midness, I fucking hate that okay, I'm being extra. I don't hate the movie, I just was not a fan of it, I thought it was mid, right? I thought it was a mid film. Great visuals, fantastic visuals, but the story fell apart at the end, right? And it's like I can turn my brain off for the most part when watching and consuming media. But then there's some times where I'm like, no, I can't turn it off that much, right? So as soon as like the words, I'm sorry, but as soon as the words, oh, okay, you can do this, you can do this. Come on, come on, Captain Rambeau, Black Girl Magic. I was like, yeah, no, 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 no. No, okay?
Thing is,
I have never
okay.
heard a TV show utter the words "Black Girl Magic" unironically, or, like, a TV show, a film, like, I'm just kinda like, why did they say that? I know why they said it, but it's like, why would you include that, right? And it was such a jarring moment for me that I was like, "Yeah, let me go ahead and turn this shit off," right? Like, I'm just kidding. I didn't turn it off then. I turned it off, like, halfway through because I went to go do something else, but that was, like, a moment where I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I understand that Marvel always has cringy dialogue, but come on, guys, like, come on, you know? Like, it's too much. It was too much for me. But go ahead, Singer.
Yeah. As Sleeper pointed out in the chat, there's like plenty of female representation in Warhammer, but in the Space Marines specifically, there isn't. And this game is based on that. There's women in the game. There's women Imperial Guard soldiers, Cadians. But there's no female main protagonist. And it's like, so there's women in the game though. So what? You can't ask the impossible. And Warhammer, the people writing the show are just completely crazy because they made a female custodians. And I'm like, for one, they're people grown from a tube. They ain't born. They were grown in a lab. And they were all dudes. And they were with the Emperor of Mankind. This is going a bit deep. Right at the beginning. So, like, they were all dudes. So it's like, they're trying to force a narrative. I understand why Henry Cavill left the show because he was going to do it. He's a massive Warhammer fan. I completely understand when he said, yo, they're doing shit that I don't like. And they're trying to force the representation, but there's representation even in the game. But people are like, it's not the main character. So why does it have to be the main character? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. You there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I'm, like, looking at Dorian's comment. I'm like, actually, Dorian, that's just not even true. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really do, like, statistically speaking, of course, there's more straight people in media than gay people, you know? I think that we have a couple more shows and film here and there, you know what I'm saying? But, like, you know, not every single show has a LGBT character or whatever. Um And it's like if you wanna focus on shows that are successful, you'll look at things like The Bear, you'll look at Succession, you'll look at, what the fuck is that show called? On Apple TV. That's name is it on Apple TV? Apple TV shows. Severance. I actually don't know if Severance has any gay characters or not. I have no clue, right? I've never seen it. But it's like if you look at those shows, it's like, who are the leads? White men, you know? And of course, what's her name? Ayo is in The Bear and stuff, but like so is Jeremy, I believe his name is. I don't Jeremy Allen, something like that. I don't fucking know. The dude from damn, not me fucking struggling. The show that was set in Chicago. I should remember it. Chicago base show. Jeremy. Okay, well, yeah, The Bears in Chicago too. The other show based in fucking Chicago. Um Jeremy Allen White, who was in Shameless, right? Yes. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's just kind of like the shows that are like that were extremely well written and well received have straight white people as the lead characters. Also, what was it? White Lotus? Is that what that shit's called? Lotus, something like that on HBO.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'm just saying,
And
like,
and
yeah.
and the funny thing is, this is the first time Henry Cavill does. He left the Witcher show
Mm-hmm.
because they were going away from all the shit. Like, see, he understand. He is clearly a fan. He is a fan of fantasy, The Witcher, Warhammer. But why does he keep leaving these projects? Because these dumbasses want to go, well, let's add this here. Well, that doesn't. Yeah, but we can add this here, and he's probably like, the fuck is this shit? And then just walks off. Like, can someone, can someone actually, like, it's crazy how he walked away not only from Warhammer but The Witcher. So it's like, there's got to be a reason, right?
I mean, honestly speaking, I commend him for being willing to walk away from projects that disrespect the source material. I commend him for
Hmm.
that. I think that's very valid. Hopefully, maybe he'll be able to work on his own thing.
Hopefully, he gets something that he's into when they don't fuck with the source material.
Because
Like,
that would piss me off too. I'm not gonna hold you. Um,
especially if you know the Witcher story back to front and you read the books,
mhm,
and then you're like, none of this was in the books or the games. What is this? I mean,
um, yeah, okay, so I didn't watch The Acolyte because 'cause I'm not interested in Star Wars, but I did watch that, like, video from, what's her name? Amandla Steinberg, I believe, and the whole, like what was it called? Something about she did, like, a diversity, like, pop/rap song, and she was twerking in the video. I was like, "Man, this is, like, such a misstep." I don't understand like, I understand why she did it because she's very young, right? And, like, she played
mhm.
Rue in, The Hunger Games, and there was a lot of racist backlash, that is, when she was playing Rue, and she was still a little girl when that happened, and I genuinely believe that, like, shaped her, mindset and her way of thinking going forward because, like, that video was horrendous, like, it was such a misstep, and I was just like, "Why would you put something like this out?" It's like drawing unnecessary attention to yourself, you know what I'm saying? And it's like that show ended up being canceled, and everybody wants to say it's like, "Oh, it's because everyone is racist and everyone's sexist and all this stuff," right? I would say, like, the majority of viewers who watched it just weren't interested in it, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just were like, "You know what? I'm checking out. I'm moving on. I don't wanna watch this." Were there racist people, grifting during The Acolyte? Absolutely, like, 100%, but, like, the reason the show failed and the reason why they're not getting another season is because viewers did not tune in. You can't claim that every single viewer is fucking racist. Like that's an egregious statement, right? So I think she had some like missteps there, and I really do feel for her because again, when she played Rue, there was so much racist backlash on her playing Rue, even though I believe Rue is described as like a black character in the book. I gotta check with my sister because I didn't read those books, right? It was a little after my time, right? But, yeah, so I genuinely believe that shaped her mindset, and then she just going forward, she had some very, uh, odd choices. She made some very odd choices, so, The Acolyte's kinda like whatever. I feel like if the thing of it is when it comes to diversity, right, the writing if the writing is good, people are not going to care. Okay? I'll give an example. Interview with the Vampire, the writing on that show is so phenomenal that every time I see anybody talking about it, it's like, "This shit is so amazing. It's so phenomenal. It's so great. This is, like, the best thing I've ever seen." Like, "Oh my god." Like, and I watched a couple episodes of season 1. I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good." It takes a lot for me to stick with a show or anything along, right? But they changed Louis. They made Louis into a black pimp essentially instead of a white slave owner, right? They changed Claudia into a little black girl instead of a 5-year-old white child, which I think there's a lot of things that go into why Anne Rice was, she was writing some really freaky stuff. Okay, like, now I understand themes, okay? I understand characterization, I get that, but there are some things where I was just like, "Now why would you include that?" I understand vampires have different morality, but still. Anyway, moving on from that. But yeah, so they made like 2 of the leads in Interview with the Vampire black, right? So I'm just saying, like, I think that if a show is very well written and the focus isn't on character's sexuality or their race or their gender, right? I think it will do good. You know what I'm saying? I think people are willing to give it a chance. And I think like when it comes to like certain shows, oh, I can't remember. It was either a game or a show, right? I can't remember. I can't remember anything, honestly speaking. But I remember there were a bunch of grifters saying like, "This is gonna fail. This is gonna fail," and then it ended up doing like really well because it was just good. It was just well
Y-
written. Um,
You know what's crazy about that, Luca? I've noticed
yeah.
that now. In a
What?
lot of recent RPGs, they have the LGBTQ. Hey, you can have sex with a bear in Baldur's Gate 3, right?
Mhm.
It's a shapeshifter, but whatever. Um, but they have all of this sprinkled in. Pillars of Eternity, Divinity have LGBTQ characters, all this representation, all these dark subjects. Everything's in there. But because it's an RPG and everything's written so much into the story, the quests are interwoven, you don't none of it just sticks out, you know? You're just like, "Oh, yeah, 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 let me go help this person rescue their beloved so I could get access to this token to help me go finish this quest." But it's written in such a way where you're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, this is cool," and then you keep it pushing, you just don't pay attention to it. It's not shoved in your face. And even then, you still have options. You could choose not to do it if you don't want to. And I've noticed RPGs now are doing a lot of this, and I think they have the creative freedom to do that. Whereas if you're trying to tell like a really narrative-based single player, like linear story, you don't have much room for that. So you kind of force it. Just something I noticed.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just responding. Yeah, The Handmaid's Tale, Handmaid's Tale, this shit is fucking scary, dude. That shit scared the fuck out of me. Very horrific show, but like they were doing people are listen, that forced birthing stuff, like let's not get into it, okay? Let's not get into it. Anyway, but yeah, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Yeah. I think you guys again saying that there's more LGBTQ members in media than there is in like you see in real life is like first of all, you wouldn't even know if somebody's gay or not unless they are like presenting, right? And also like why does every black character have to be gay? Like these are very statistically speaking from black characters that are on television, them being gay is very low. Like that is a low statistic. So it's like you guys gotta stop making these overarching comments because it's just not true. We got to deal with facts here, okay? So anyway. All right, so singer, I will handle this, okay?
Yep,
Next part, we're going to talk about Dr. Disrespect, Mr. D, Dr. D. If you could share your screen for me for the Dr. Disrespect stuff, I'd appreciate
yep.
it.
Let me know if you need me to zoom in.
Sure. What's up, Capono? No, I have the article up on my end too. So but yeah,
Oh,
okay. So no, you can scroll down though. So Dr. Disrespect, he's back, guys. He is backed, okay? He's backed after 2 months after admitting that he exchanged messages with an individual minor that leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate, right? Um okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this, right? Like we are all are aware of the Dr. Disrespect situation. Um I really wanna go into this, guys, mostly because, like, I feel like there's a lot of missteps on Dr. Disrespect's part, and he could have avoided a lot of the issues that he's having if he had just responded differently, if he had just moved a little differently, right? Because let me tell you, he is the like I said, missteps, right? So let me go ahead and pull this up. I have another link as well. Okay, maybe I don't have a link. Maybe I quote retweeted it. Let me look for it, right? But essentially speaking, let me find it because I was going back and forth with a couple people about this. Honestly speaking, and this is like generally now, especially after being in my field of work. right? I'm at this point where I'm just kind of like, oh, people are just genuinely stupid. And because of that, I've been, this entire situation has not filled me with any sort of rage or anger. I'm slowly getting to that point where I'm just like, yeah, people are just dumb and there's really nothing I can do about it, right? But he did it was a 5-hour live stream. 200,000 people came through to watch the doc, all right? And some of the highlights from the video, right? So, legally speaking, he was not found guilty of anything, right? The individual did not want to file a report, but his former Twitch manager encouraged them to, right? Allegedly, his old Twitch partner manager was targeting him because he never supported him, right? And personally escalate the messages to the Twitch legal team after Doc requested a new manager. Okay, now here's the thing. Here's very, very important things that are part of his statements, right? That I feel like people, and it's not just people who support him, there are people who are also just kind of like, they're also just kind of like aware of the situation, they're going over the situation, but they're not really thinking about like what he said, okay? Because he said a lot of he made a lot of comments during this. All right, he made a lot of allegations, he made a lot of excuses. But the biggest thing that stood out to me when he was making his comments is he says that they didn't even look into the legal definition of sexting, right? Now, I feel like people they're ignoring that aspect and another aspect too, and I'll get into the other aspect as well in a moment, right? But Dr. Disrespect said they did not. Do people know what the legal definition of sexting is? I do. Okay, so he said I do, right? Now my thing is like, when it comes to like technicalities, when it comes to like the definition of words, when it comes like that kind of thing, I like to be I like to look into these things, right? I don't know if it's like maybe it's like my ADHD or something, where it's like I'll just go and I'll look into certain things and try to figure out like, okay, what are you actually saying, like technically speaking, or by definition, that kind of thing, right? So he, the legal definition of sexting, right? So it varies from state to state, but on from what saw, and someone can correct me, but from what researched, on a federal level, the legal definition of sexting is exchanging sexually explicit images or videos, right? So he said, I did not exchange sex with this individual, right? From a legal standpoint, okay? I did not, legally speaking, from a legal standpoint, I did not sex this individual, right? So him saying that is him saying no videos or no images, because I'm assuming he's going for the federal definition of this. No videos or images were exchanged, okay? But that doesn't mean that sexually explicit texts were not exchanged. Now, the reason why I say that, okay, is that Dr. Disrespect also, when he was going through his spiel, he said they did not look at the age of consent where the messages were sent and received. Okay. Now, a lot of people they seem to have missed this, or they seem to be struggling with understanding what age of consent means. That's okay. I feel like some people, like I said, they miss certain things, right? Age of consent. Okay. I need you guys to understand something. The only reason why he would mention the age of consent is if, in the context of the inappropriate messages he sent to this minor, was sexual. Because age of consent refers to sexual stuff, okay? When it's sexually legal to be with an individual, okay? Now, the age of consent in the United States varies from state to state, but it is between the ages of 16 and 18, okay? Now, if this individual was 18, legally they are an adult, okay? Therefore, he would have said they were an adult. They were 18. He would have said they were 18. But in the initial statement that he made after when all this stuff came out and he had his live stream, he got his messages, he got dropped from Midnight Society, or they collectively decided to part ways, whatever, right? He said individual minor, okay? So because you can someone can still be of the age of consent, right? But still be considered a minor. All right? So, he admitted, and because of that statement, this minor that he exchanged sexually explicit text, at least with, right, was between the ages of 16 and 17. Okay? Age of consent refers to sexual conduct. Okay? He said they did not look at the age of consent for this individual based on the state that they were in. All right? So therefore, they would have had to have been 16 and 17. And in this context, inappropriate messages was referring to sexual conduct. Okay? Now, I went back and forth with a couple of people, not like any big thing or anything like that, right? Where they were like, legally speaking, he didn't do anything wrong. Okay. So, yes, legally speaking, they could not convict him of anything, right? Because legally speaking, technically, he did not break the law. Okay. I mean, there's a lot that actually goes into it. You can go into the details state by state, right? But legally speaking, he didn't do anything wrong. This is from like a moral standpoint, like morally speaking. Morally speaking, he was a 35-year-old man, married with children, exchanging inappropriate messages with a 16 or 17-year-old individual. I mean, I'm gonna assume it's a girl. I'm gonna assume it's a girl. It's kind of weird that they won't say, like, they just keep saying individual and minor. They won't say like girl or guy or whatever. Especially because Mr. Doctor Disrespect was shown to be like a fucking chaser. Maybe he was just like really, he was just wilding, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So it was like really interesting. Like, I feel like he just admits too much, and I feel like another thing is I feel like he's very much of like a he it's like a matter of semantics, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like you have to really pay attention to what he's saying, but understand, like, only the parts that really matter about what he said, again, and that stood out to me, is that, again, age of consent has to be referring to sexual contact because that's just what it means. That's a definition, okay? At least here in the States, all right? So, again, youngest for the age of consent, 16, 17, okay? So this individual minor that he was speaking to, exchanging sexually explicit messages to, was between 16 and 17. Okay. So yeah, he also said a lot of other things. Like he was talking about like Cody, why Cody's the one who initially revealed all this stuff. Now, I want to also say this. Here's another mistake that I think Dr. Disrespect made, right? So what's this dude's name? Connors, I think. This is another mistake that Dr. Disrespect made, right? I think, okay, so this is what Cody Connor said, right? He said he got banned because he got caught sexting a minor in the then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read plain text. Case closed, gang. No one made the wrong decision. Fuck him and his boys, right? Now, me personally, Cody Connors, I feel like people are not understanding. Cody Connors did not say Dr. Disrespect's name in this tweet. Now, it's implied, right? Like, people are not completely stupid, so they knew who he was referring to, right? But he never said Dr. Disrespect's name. So, like, Dr. Disrespect could have been like, I have no idea what he's talking about or who he's talking about because he didn't say my name. So we can move on from that. And I feel like there would have been a couple people who would have been like, they would have mentioned it. It would have been like the conversation and topic of the week. But then people would have moved on to something else. And it would have been like, okay, hey guys, remember when that guy came out and said implied that Dr. Disrespect got caught sexting a minor? It never said Dr. Disrespect's name. It wasn't until Dr. Disrespect came out and like confirmed that Cody was talking to him that it became like, okay, like you have now confirmed that Cody is implying that Cody is saying that you were the one who was banned for sexting a minor, right? So as soon as he said that, legally speaking as well, like I'm pretty sure that because Cody did not actually give a name, that he can't be sued because he didn't say Dr. Disrespect. He didn't say Dr. Disrespect until Dr. Disrespect confirmed it was him. Like he said, yeah, this was me. He's talking about me, right? The other mistake that Dr. Disrespect made, I think, is I think that Dr. Disrespect has this thing with like trying to get ahead of the problem. I think this is what I think happened years ago when he came out and he admitted to cheating on his wife on stream. I was like, it's very strange that he would choose to do this. Okay. So my thing is because he was sticking his dick in everything that moved at the time, I think that one of the girls he was fucking with was like threatened to like blackmail him or something. And this is just speculation on my part, threatened to blackmail him, and he decided to get ahead of it and come out about it and just tell people so he wouldn't have to like deal with that situation, you know. Clearly his wife is okay with him cheating because that's just what he was doing during that time, right? So it wasn't even a matter of her finding out, it was a matter of everybody else finding out, right? So he came out, and so I think he has like this habit of trying to get ahead of things. So I think the second mistake Dr. Disrespect made was him putting out that long horrible thread, in my opinion. It was like a terrible tweet, in my opinion. Horrendous. Like he just should have never admitted to it, in my opinion, because it's just like I say he should not have admitted to it because he's just backtracking now, so it doesn't even fucking matter, right? But he like when he admitted in that tweet where he was like, were there messages between me and an individual minor during this time? The answer is yes. Did they lean towards inappropriate? Like, yes, you know, but was there any intent behind the messages? The answer is no. Again, also, it's like, speaking of the matter of intent, like the intent for what? Like a sexual intent? Like, come on, guys. I really, the thing of it is, I feel like I say like, come on, guys. The thing of it is, people are just really stupid, you know. And it's like I really have to wrap my mind around that. That people are stupid, like genuinely stupid. They don't have any critical thinking skills. They have difficulty comprehending text, and there are people who think that they're smarter than other people. I don't think I'm smarter than anybody else. Genuinely speaking, I just think that people are stupid. You know, I think there are a lot of people who are really stupid because they don't want to use their brains. It's very difficult for them, seemingly. You know, honestly speaking, this is just like me ranting about work right now. This is a tangent I'm going on. My fucking users piss me off so fucking badly, guys. Like you have no idea the ways that they trigger me when it comes to me helping them with these fucking computer problems. And a lot of the time, it's like things like, hey, I'm missing my USB ports on my computer. Do I need like an adapter or something? I don't have USB ports on my computer. And it's like, what do you mean you don't have USB ports on your computer? We have the same fucking computer. It's like, yeah, but where are the USB ports? I'm like, did you turn the computer to the side? It's a laptop, guys. And they're like, oh my god, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Like stuff like that. Just really just like I have to deal with things like that, guys, where I'm just like, I stare at the messages and I'm just thinking to myself, like, how? How? But anyway, tangent over. I'm sorry. But anyway, what I'm saying is like I just think that there's a lot of people, even people there are people now again, maybe it's because like part of way that this show has been for a very long time is that we would just spend time calling each other out for stuff, and we would spend time like going over each other's messages, going over other people's messages, calling people out like if they ended up contradicting themselves, stuff like that. Like this is just something that we ended up doing for a long time on this show in particular. So it might be that as well. So it's like for me when I like go through when I went through his statement and I listened to his video on the matter, I was just like, okay, he's admitting more than I think he would actually have liked to have admitted. You know what I'm saying? Like he's saying he's saying a lot more than he actually intends, I think. And I think he's like very mindful of semantics. I think in some instances, in some way, a part of him is trying to be honest. But the thing of it is, again, he's using semantics and he's focusing on the legal definition of things, which as soon as you start talking about like legality, morally speaking, it's like, okay, you did that shit for sure, right? Now, the thing of it is, do I think long term that this is going to be a problem? Honestly speaking, again, I think Dr. Disrespect, I think he jumped the gun when he had released that statement admitting that he was sending in exchanging inappropriate messages with a minor at the time. He jumped the gun. I think he thought that somebody was going to leak the whisper messages. I really think that he thought that. I think that he was genuinely frightened at the prospect. And so he was like, okay, I'm going to try and get ahead of this. I'm going to admit to this before they can leak the messages. And, I will do my best. I will do my very best to make it sound not as bad as it's going to sound. I think he jumped the gun because, again, it's been 2 months. Um, We've not seen anything. No one has leaked anything. I think legally speaking, they are not allowed to leak anything based on the terms of their contract, right? So I think unless there's like a really disgruntled, like irrational, full of hate, um, employee or ex-employee who's just like, fuck, like I don't care if I fall into financial ruin. I don't care if I have to spend some time in jail, that kind of thing. Unless there's somebody who's like that, who's willing to risk like again, like financial ruin slash being put in jail. I don't think we're ever going to see the contents of those messages unless there's like a time period also attached to like the NDA of whatever the agreement that they came to. Now, if there's a time period, like I again, I hope with whatever he came up with his lawyers, they weren't dumb enough to have it so, oh, this only lasts a certain amount of time, right? Hopefully that is like a for his sake, honestly speaking, like a long-term legally binding thing, right? But I think he talks too damn much. I really think that's, like, the biggest thing. He talks too much. I think that, again, there's a part of him who wants to be honest, but he can only be honest in the sense of speaking in legalese, essentially, right? Morally speaking, I think he's in the wrong. I think he knows that he's in the wrong, but I also think he realizes that people are really fucking stupid. Like, he knows that especially, like, people are dumb. Like, people are just really dumb. I think he's dumb for admitting it, honestly, but he also knows that his fans will eat that shit up. Because after the 200,000 people left, after he gave his piece, right? There were 50,000 people left, like 60,000 people left, just watching him play the game. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like, from that perspective, he's fine. He wants to reapply for partnership. I don't think that they're going to give him his partnership back with YouTube, but that doesn't mean that he's completely shit out of luck when it comes to his finances, right? I was talking to Slow-Mo about this earlier. I said that he can go the Steven Crowder route and he can make his own website and have people subscribe to him through the website. I think he is big enough where that could actually work for him. So I'm almost saying, like, someone brought up EDP. He was like, EDP tried to do all that stuff and they kept shutting down his domains. I'm like, EDP had significantly more damning evidence against him than Dr. Disrespect had, right? EDP had like a 40-minute video of him admitting to messaging and trying to meet up with a 13-year-old, right? Actually going to meet up with a 13-year-old is his thoughts, right? We saw the text messages that he exchanged with this girl that he thought was 13. We saw the blurred out images. Nasty motherfucker, dude. There was some fucking scat kink up in there. Don't look that up, but scat kink up in there. He like was sending like nudes of his dick, that kind of thing, right? To what he thought was a 13-year-old girl, right? And he also intended to meet up with her. There's like no coming back from that. You're fucked. Okay, even legally speaking. Okay, and so that is another thing when it comes to legality versus morals, right? People keep bringing up like, well, legally speaking, legally speaking, legally speaking, legally speaking. I don't think anything's happened to EDP. Matter of fact, let me EDP legal. Let me see what's going on with this boy. EDP 445 criminal charges. Was he, what's up? Criminal charges. Did he let's see here. Why has EDP not been arrested? Let's see here. That's a good question. Yeah, just because EDP has not been arrested for trying to meet up with a fucking minor, right? Doesn't mean morally that he's in the clear. And it also doesn't mean he didn't do that shit. Because we all fucking saw what he did. Okay? So I believe that he wasn't arrested because those fucking dumbass group of pedo catchers fucked up the investigation, essentially. I really genuinely believe that's what happened, right? So Like, yeah, so it's just kind of like, I think that there's a lot of missteps on Dr. Disrespect's part. I think that as long as the messages don't come out, like, he's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's fine. Like, will he be made fun of for the rest of his fucking life? Yes. Absolutely. Just like when he cheated on his wife. And honestly speaking, now it's gonna sound crazy as hell because I think cheating is like awful in general. But I was just kind of like, well, he cheated on his wife. Like, what's the big deal? It's a big deal. Okay. Obviously, it matters. But for me, I was just kind of like, that's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't even understand why people are trolling him about it. People, of course, when it comes to the sanctity of marriage, some people are more devoted and serious about that than I would have been. I just was kind of like, I don't know why his fans would care about that personally. But this instance as well, I think he's fine. I think as long as those messages don't come out, he's perfectly fine. He will be made fun of and trolled for the rest of his time here, but other than that, like, he's good. I think that, if it hasn't come out now, I mean, again, unless there is, like, a emotionally, and I say this, like, I think if you don't like him, I think that's fair and valid, right? Just based on, like, what he stands for, but I think that you would have to be extremely irrational and to risk financial career financial and career ruin, and also risk your risk your freedom to expose someone just because you fucking hate him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that is extremely irrational. And I also think that's why a lot of people get away with the things that they get away with, because there's people who think, they're like, I don't want to fucking ruin my life over something like this. So now that being said, again, I do think that maybe eventually someone may, they'll break. They'll be like, I fucking hate this guy. I'm gonna I'm gonna leak all this shit, right? I do think that just because of the nature of like the community, like the space that we're in terms of like the gaming space, I do genuinely think that someone might do that. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, right? So those are my thoughts on the matter. I think he's like, I think he'll be fine. If those messages, if as long as he stops talking and those messages don't come out. I think he made a mistake. I think he should have gone like the Mr. Beast Cody Co route and just he shouldn't have said anything. But I think he talks too damn much, honestly. But anyway. Yeah, ADP's lucky he's not behind bars. If Doc tries to sue them, it will come out because he would have to prove that what was said wasn't true. Exactly that. Oh yeah, he also was just kind of like, he was like, people are saying release the tapes, release the, or sorry, not release the tapes. My bad. Release the messages, release the messages. What are you in second grade? And I'm just like, that is a terrible fucking response. Terrible. He should have been like, he's like, I can't release these messages because it would put it would potentially put the individual in danger, and I don't wanna bring that kind of attention and, that kind of negative attention to this individual. I know how people are on the internet, I know how my fans are, therefore, I will not be showing these messages, um, due to that matter. I just don't wanna put this person in potential danger. Coulda said something like that, but again, like, I don't think he's very smart, and I don't think his fans are very smart, so yeah, exactly, Greg. So if Doc tries to sue them, it'll come out because they have to prove that what was said wasn't true, right? But yeah, I mean, he agreed. He knows what he did. Yeah, people are living on autopilot, thinking is hard. Exactly. I know. It's so bad. Yeah. Drake is gonna go into hiding out. Yeah, Drake also like legally, and again, that's another thing. Has anything happened to Drake legally? No, but in terms of, like, the allegations of him liking young girls, right? And we have video evidence of him being weird with young girls, okay? But legally speaking, has anything happened to Drake? No. So people even saying, well, legally speaking, without the disrespect, it's fine. Like, because legally he didn't do anything wrong is such a fucking ridiculous argument, because it's like there's plenty of people where legally nothing happened to them, but morally speaking, they did that shit. You know what I mean? Like, they definitely did that shit. So yeah. It was like Drake mentioning Millie Bobby Brown, nobody mentioned her. Um, the fact that the situation is even debatable. Okay, the only one, if he's lying, he should be taking him to court. If he doesn't, then something is off with what the doc is doing. He admitted it already, but his fans are going to let him walk it back. Absolutely. People are talking about fucking hearsay. I'm like, hearsay? He admitted that shit, my boy. Like, come on, you know? What's up, Troyski? How's it going, buddy? Oh, come on, Greg. You know, yeah, I think somebody said that when it came to those whisper messages, you couldn't even send images. So there's that too, you know? He's like, no images were exchanged. I'm like, because you couldn't exchange them, right? Like it wasn't possible. What's up, Jay Swolls? No, I think, you know, I don't know. Yeah, he's not going to sue Cody Connors. I don't think he can. So, and I try to be fair, Gambit. I do my best. Like I said, I just try to go off what what I believe the truth is based on what I look into, even if I don't like agree with it. So, thank you, Amon. Yeah, that's true, Rob. Ooh, appreciate you, Jay Swolls. Yeah, he really took all the time to come back and only say, "Ha, my master plan of making everyone think I was a pedo works." Yeah. Also, another thing, he's just so, like I said, he's so dumb. He's like, he's dumb. His fans are dumber, but he's pretty dumb because he's just kind of like, yeah, guys, I put minor in there to bait the journalist, and yeah, champs, they took the bait. I'm just like, what are you saying right now? Like, you sound ridiculous. Like, come on, man. Like, but it's working. Like, I'm telling you, he's gonna be perfectly fine. As long as he stops talking about it, and as long as those messages don't come out, he will be perfectly fucking fine. He's not gonna get that partnership back with YouTube. It's just not gonna happen. But maybe Kick. I don't know. Maybe Kick is the land of fucking degenerates. Maybe they'll take him, and or he can do his own website like Steven Crowder, right? So yeah, I'm doing good, Capono. But yeah, it's just oh, I'm not playing Wukong. You know, why didn't his lawyer tell him to shut up? Honestly, that's a good question. Again, when it comes to these kinds of situations, there are people like Mr. Beast and Cody Ko. And mind you, Cody Ko broke the law. Like, he broke the law, okay, because he was 25. And in both of the states that this incident would have occurred in, right? It's illegal to sleep with somebody under the age of 18. And he slept with Tana Mojo when she was 17. So he broke the law. Now, I believe the statute of limitations is up for that. So technically speaking, I think he would be fine. But also, it's like, why would you admit to it? Like, why? Like, what's the point of you admitting to breaking the law? That would be so stupid. It would be stupid to do so. What, to try and like appease your fucking fan base? Come on. Like, I think Cody Ko, honestly, just based on some of the things I've heard about him, some of the people that he's been around like one of his friends being fucking accused of sexual assault when they were in college and him keeping that guy around and it being like this huge thing. I think Cody Ko is a deplorable person, right? But he's also smart enough to keep his mouth shut. And I think other people, when it comes to these kinds of situations, keep your fucking mouth shut. Listen to what your lawyers have to say and keep your mouth shut. Now, should they, because they're deplorable, should they keep their mouth shut just based on the sense that what they've done is like awful in terms of like legality and morally, right? Should they keep their mouth shut? No, they shouldn't. They should what is the word? They should let's make their own bed or whatever, dig their own hole. I don't know, whatever the fucking saying is, right? They should. But like from a logical standpoint, should they say something? The answer is no. It's like, no, you shouldn't fucking say anything because you got to use your brain here. I think some people react out of emotion, and this is a very reasonable thing to react out of emotion to in terms of like being accused of something like this. I think people react out of emotion, and then they do like really weird and dumb shit. Like take Colleen Basinger, whatever the fuck her last name is, right? That bitch has always been weird. Okay, let's start there. That bitch has always been fucking weird. All right, but she got those grooming allegations, and then she came out singing a song on a fucking ukulele. But I'm like, you know what? That actually makes sense, and that is on brand because she's fucking weird. She's always been weird. That makes perfect sense that she did that shit, right? And she was doing that shit out in the open. All right, same with Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson was saying and doing that shit out in the open. I would know. I used to watch Shane Dawson growing up. I watched him. Like that. Him and Colleen are from like my era and my generation of growing up and watching YouTubers. Like people were just saying and doing. People were blatantly racist when I grew up watching YouTube, right? When I was like in high school, middle school, high school, right? People were blatantly racist. People were blatantly homophobic, blatantly sexist, blatantly would make comments about children, sexually explicit comments about children and teenagers. This was blatant. There would be jokes about it. I think about Trey Melvin, and I remember when I was younger, he would have like this. He had this video series where it was like an elementary school girl talking about being pregnant by this boy from her class, and then how she had like a train ran on her by like what did you say, 7 zebras and an elephant or some shit like that, right? And it's like when I was younger, because me and Trey Melvin are around the same age, it's just kind of like you grow up and you're watching that stuff and you're not really like comprehending at the time, especially because like the internet was so different back then in terms of like, because I grew up with the internet, right? Where I had like a period of time where I was not on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember being in 6th grade, being at home, AOL dialing up, right? Just waiting to get on the internet and get on the computer to play like these little small computer games at the time. I grew up with the internet becoming more mainstream. So it was like kind of like a wild, wild west, and people were just saying and doing a lot of stuff. Like I was exposed to a lot of things that I should not have been exposed to. Pedo bear, you know what I'm saying? Like shit like that, right? Like I grew up in that era. So it's just like people were like very open, out in the open and blatant and just doing and saying this stuff. And it's like it's not until maybe I think I would have to say like maybe like the Me Too era where people started like looking into that stuff and being more mindful of this stuff and actually kind of being like, hey, no, actually, this is like really bad, right? And that's why I think like when it comes to a lot of things, like especially when I look at people who are around my age, I'm 31, right? Who are around my age, and it's like certain things that they get exposed for. I'm kind of like, well, they were in high school, so it's kind of like I would hope that they have grown up from that. It is what it is. It's been like 10 years, 15 years. And I'm talking specifically about like, take for instance, I think her name is Brooke Schofield or some shit. When she was a teenager, she said some crazy shit. She was saying some crazy shit. All right, some crazy racist shit, right? And then she got exposed for that. And then she's all like, "Yeah, I said that shit. It was fucked up. I didn't know any better back then." And I'm like, "Okay, I can accept that." But there are people who are younger than me who are just like, "No, you're a terrible, evil, horrible person because I, a current teenager, would never do and say these things." But it's like, no, things were just different back then. Like each generation, things have just progressively changed, and what is considered acceptable versus what is considered acceptable now versus what was acceptable back then are so different, right? So it's like, yeah, that's why when it comes to like some like if you were younger, I'm talking like early I'm talking teenager, early 20s, and you were saying like certain things. I'm talking sexism, racism, homophobia, that kind of stuff. But you're older now and you're just kind of like, okay, like I shouldn't have said that stuff. I shouldn't have done this shit. I am like more willing to be like, okay, yeah, I understand that. But like then on the other note, like if you were in your 30s and 40s making certain comments, I'm like, bro, like come on. You know what I'm saying? Like and I'm talking like stuff about like teenage girls, like why are you 35 making comments about teenage girls? Like, I think about like that old thread with like Cliffy B. It was like it was like some kind of forum where he was talking about like the Olsen twins, and I was like, man, how old was Cliffy B at the time? Too old for that shit. I think about James Gunn, and he was in his like 40s and 50s making all like dozens of sexually explicit jokes about teenagers. So it's just kind of like I don't know, it's a little weird, right? It's fucked up, but like I don't know. I just think that things are so different nowadays. I think that people, I don't know, man, they gotta get their shit together, honestly speaking. Like, I look back and I think about all the things that I did and said when I was a teenager, / in my early 20s. And I look back and I'm just like, man, delete your old tweets, guys. Delete your old tweets, okay? Yeah. Man, delete your shit, y'all. That's why, like, if you guys were to look at my Twitter account, I created this account when I joined this community. You're not gonna find anything. I mean, other than me telling people to off themselves, which I stand by that, and also, you know, I'm saying some crazy shit to people, but like nothing like sex. Like, don't get me wrong, I've never said anything like racist or sexist or homophobic, really, about like any other ethnicities, you know? Like, I have no interest in, like, being racist towards other ethnicities, like, I have no interest in that. Um, so yeah, like, but anyway, delete your old tweets, honestly speaking, y'all. Like, if you can't if you've had your Twitter account for a long time, just delete that shit, man. Like, the amount of people have been exposed for stuff, like, just do a little general search. Actually, just kidding, you can't even do that because the search function is so fucking busted at this point because of Elon Musk's terrible, terrible handling of this app. So never mind. Maybe people won't even find that shit, right? But yeah. Those are my thoughts on Dr. Disrespect situation. I think that after this, he should just like never talk about it again. Just keep it fucking moving, keep his mouth shut, and go back to streaming. And people will fucking his fans, his loyal fans, they'll be with him. You know, they'll be arguing legalities and they'll support him, or they'll be like, oh, I don't give a fuck. I actually had somebody in my replies today who was like, I'm torn, Luca, um, because I like him as a personality. But also, 16 and 17 is a lot different from 13 and 14. Like, it's still a bad look, but still. And I'm just like, technically speaking, 16 and 17 is different from 13 and 14, honestly speaking. But like from a moral standpoint, people don't want to hear that shit. That's why even though like if you go by the legal definition or the actual definition of certain things, 16 and 17 is like I think 15, 16, 17 is like a what, Habibophile or some shit like that. Habibophile, something like that. One of those, right? Because like pedophiles like under 10, under 11, something like that, right? But everybody just uses like the blanket pedophile. The people just say you're a pedophile, like, you know what I'm saying? So because people don't want to go for the because that is like more widespread, more wide known, and more widely accepted, right? So if you try to argue technicalities with people, they're gonna look at you like you're fucking crazy. They're gonna think you're weird. And I'm actually shocked that this person said this out loud. I'm like, why would you say that out loud? Like, you can't say stuff like that. You look crazy as hell. Even though technically 13 and 14 is different from 16, 17. So yeah. Those are my thoughts on it. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much how I feel about the matter. Yeah, Saber, honestly speaking, Saber, I feel like you stand by everything that you fucking say, so it's not even a problem. I call you a who? Gregor, you call yourself that, okay? Just use the Wayback Machine to find Luca's old tweets. Oh, yeah. I actually want to Wayback. I'll put my Twitter in there, see if I know that I haven't said anything crazy other than telling people to off themselves, like, and again, I fucking stand by that shit. I think some people do need to do that shit. But I say this as someone who deals with suicidal thoughts myself. You know what I'm saying? As a someone with depression, so I feel like I can say that shit. It's fine. But anyway. Okay. It says the Wayback Machine is not available. Wait, it has not archived that URL. Okay, let me go ahead. Interesting. So yeah, my shit's not actually on there, guys. That's so interesting. So does the Wayback Singer, do you know, does this Wayback Machine only work with certain things? Like, do you have to be like a popular person for things to show up for you? Like for people to choose to like archive your stuff? Is it that kind of thing?
No, I think it's just get archived because it's like, for example, like some mods.
I don't even know if Singer's here anymore. Guys, do you know, like, for the Wayback
I am
Machine,
here. Hello?
do people have to like choose to save your stuff? Like that kind of thing? With how it works.
Hello, Luca? Can you hear me? Hello?
I'm very curious. Guys, but if
Wait,
I
you
could tell you
can't
some of the
hear me?
other stuff that my fucking users have done, dude, like, let me fucking like, I had this one user, y'all, she y'all, she has an iPhone, and she didn't know that you could switch between, you know, on the iPhone keyboard, there's, like, the 1, 2, 3. You click 1, 2, 3 to get like, the other numbers, or you can click on the ABC to get to letters, right? She didn't know that you could do that, and so I had to show her how to do that, guys. I had another user who didn't know how to look up apps on the App Store on their phone, okay? Um, what else have I had? I had a user, and actually, the other people under us, 'cause I'm, like, the 3rd tier, so the last tier of, the help desk, basically, so, like, at the end of the spectrum. So, there's 2 tiers under me, and they also pissed me the fuck off, okay? Like, I had they escalated this ticket, y'all, they escalated this ticket, and they were saying, "This woman needs an adapter for her computer because she doesn't have enough space anymore to plug in her headset." I was like I was like, "She what? Unplug the charger," because she had the charger and the docking station plugged in at the same time. The docking station charges the computer. You do not need both plugged in, especially in context of the kind of systems that we use at at our place of business. Our place of business, the systems that we use do not need the additional power that you would get from having the charger and the dock plugged in together, right? So I was like, I told them, I was like, unplug the charger and then just rearrange the cord. She doesn't need a fucking adapter. If you look at the fucking computer, you can see that shit. Okay. Another thing, on the keyboard, there is an option to turn off the camera. Okay. 2 tiers of help desk. This shit goes through. For the ticket to get to me, this ticket has been in the queue for 2 days because they can't fucking figure out what's wrong with this person's computer. I'm like, "Send me a picture of your keyboard." They send me a picture. Fucking F9 is lit up. I'm like, "Hit the button." They're like, "Oh my god, I had" and it's like, I fix an issue. I fix an issue that was out for 2 fucking days in 5 minutes. These people piss me off so badly. I get so angry when I'm at work, guys, y'all. I get so fucking mad. I had this other user who was like, for some reason, all of my documents refuse to print. They're all going to PDFs for some reason. I'm like, did you choose your printer as the default printer? Did you choose your printer when printing? They're the words choose, like the word, it says save to PDF. The words save the PDF are there. If the words save the PDF are there, you would think maybe I should click on this fucking box to see where my goddamn printer is, guys. Where's your fucking printer? I had to talk this lady through that shit, man. Okay? I had this other lady, I was working with her, and she kept fucking yapping. She starts talking about her job title. I'm like, what does your job title have to do with me fixing your bitch ass computer? Nothing. But she's talking about her fucking job title. I'm over here like fixing her shit as she's fucking sending me several paragraphs. Okay? Paragraphs, bitching and complaining. And then she's like, oh my god, wow, thank you. You fixed my issue. Yeah, I know I fixed your fucking issue. If you spent less time yapping and more time paying attention, you see me in your fucking computer doing this shit. It's bad, y'all. I get so angry. I get so fucking angry at work. It's like so bad, guys. I need I don't know, and it's like, I work out, I take my medication, I take vitamins, bitch. I'm just mad, So I'm just saying, okay? Yeah, I need to anyway. Woo! Okay, so anyway, we just move on. We just move on from that. So Meat Puppet, I'd like to share my screen, but my shit, fucking crashes. Singer, are you back?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh my god, not me not being able to hear you. You might have just been talking this entire time, Singer.
I have been, and the chat was
Hear you
telling
because
you.
my headset is not working. So give me 1 second.
Well, that's fun. What up, chat? How's it going? Hopefully the technical issues get sorted out, you know? Otherwise, it's just gonna be me and you.
Okay, so my bad about that. You might have been talking this entire time, just yapping. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, when you asked me about the Wayback Machine, the entire chat was telling you about it, and I was explaining it.
Oh,
You
my
just
bad,
went
dude.
zoom. Yes.
Okay, so anyway, if you could just share, could you share that, please? And then we can get out of here. Yeah.
It doesn't load.
It doesn't load for you? Okay, that's fine. So,
Yeah.
what's your opinion on the Destiny Rising game? Is it a good or bad idea? Meat Puppet, what is Destiny Rising? What is that? NetEase Destiny Rising mobile game appears to be an MMORPG with a high standards according to dev's LinkedIn profile. You know, I'm a little skeptical when it comes to these fucking mobile games. Let's see here. Worked at NetEase Games as an engineer. Okay. I worked on Destiny IP, a project developed jointly by NetEase and Bungie. It's an MMO FPS TPS RPG game with high standards, whatever that means. My main responsibilities are logic programming, system development, level gameplay, implementation, and framework optimization. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, honestly speaking. I need to see like what else is gonna come into this, before I can give my perspective on it. Because we don't really I
Do you really play mobile games? Come on.
no, I mean, listen, I used to play that
Mm.
Fallout Shelter. Me and
Oh
that
yeah,
Fallout
fuck
Shelter.
that. I
Fire.
mean,
Yeah, that was great.
yeah.
And then I also played I was playing some Roblox with my, nephew, and trying to do those Roblox, controls on my phone was such a fucking bitch, dude. It was just like, oh, ugh, but I was playing some Roblox with my nephew, so but, Jeff Grubb says, "Destiny Rising mobile game doesn't have a lot of Bungie people working on it. Could be announced soon, has a lot of changes like hero characters instead of making your own." I mean, we'll have to wait and see, Me Puppet, honestly speaking, so
Yeah. The thing is, it's like a lot of mobile games are bad. Although the Call of Duty mobile game is actually pretty good. Like the way it runs and controls, it's actually not that bad.
Mm.
Because we tried it out just for a laugh, you know. Everyone in the Discord downloaded it onto their phones, and we all squadded up, and it was actually an all right time, you know. Everything's, it's not that bad.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, I'll keep an eye out for that then. And then Ronald says, with the completionist, Dr. Disrespect, and Mr. Beast recently getting exposed, what expose documentary or story doesn't have to be game related can you think of that made you think twice about things? For example, the controversy with Boeing has me reevaluating my thoughts about flying. Um, Honestly speaking, probably the stuff of R. Kelly when all that stuff came out. I would say. I think that was, like, the first, like, expose/sex documentary where I was like, "Ooh," because like, I mean, again, like, the stuff with R. Kelly, everybody was aware of it, like, it had been talked about for years. I remember seeing that Boondocks episode with them making fun of it, right? But
Mhm.
it didn't really, like, hit you until, like, that expose, right? So that's what did it for me, and then we've been getting, like, expose after expose after expose ever since then, right? So I think that, like, you gotta like, first of all, you cannot idolize celebrities. I mean, I'm not gonna hold you guys. I definitely be dick riding, Jenna Ortega, bro. Like, I'm not gonna fucking hold you. I'm definitely, like, super extra with it. Like, that's Pookie right there, right? But, other than that, like, you know, I think her and Melissa Barrera, but I've actually met Melissa Barrera a couple times in person, so I think you should be careful with celebrity worship, that kinda stuff like that, because we don't know these people. Like, I don't know her, and, I don't really know either of those women, right? So they could be, like, horrible fucking people behind the scenes, and you don't actually know until you find out. Like, I remember this girl I met and talked to, um, she told me about Cody Ko, like, maybe, like, a month before he got exposed, and I had no idea who Cody Ko was, right? But she was like, "Yeah, I like to watch his videos, he's really funny, da da da, good he's just like a chill channel." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And a month later, Cody Ko exposed for sleeping with 17-year-old Tana Mongeau when he's 25. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so it's just kinda like, when it comes to, like, you can't, and I think, like, when it comes to the quality of a lot of things that we consume, if there's one thing corporations are gonna do, it's fucking cutting corners, dude. They like to cut corners to save costs, regardless of people's lives being at stake, right? They don't care. Like, never doubt the human capacity for greed, and gluttony in several senses, right? But what about you, Singer? Do you have any any moment where you're just like, man, I can't,
I
I hate,
mean,
yeah,
probably the Boeing thing because I'm never flying on that plane now. Like
I
if
know.
if anyone ever says, "Oh, this is your plane," I'm gonna be asking for a different one because yeah, not for
Well,
me.
guys, wish me luck. I'm flying out Thursday, and my flight will be on. What will it be on? Let's see here. It's
I would
going to
like it.
be on. It's not going to be on a Boeing, so we're good.
Okay, good. Because I was gonna say if it's like an Airbus or something, oh, we're good to go. But
Hmm.
you know,
I mean, my last 6 flights have been on Boeing planes. I feel like I've just gotten lucky, So,
nah, I'm just
um,
thinking they're different models.
that makes sense. All right. Well, yeah, it's pretty much. Yeah, I just like yes. Celebrity worship, logically speaking, does not make any sense because we don't know these people, like at all. I feel like you got to look at the gaming community too. The amount of energy and like people feel like emotionally attached to certain things, like people emotionally attached to Xbox or PlayStation, and so you just gotta look at like the kind of behavior you see from people in this space and realize that a lot of people put a lot of themselves into like different things. So some people in this space particular are emotionally attached to Xbox or emotionally attached to PlayStation, emotionally attached to Nintendo to the point where they feel like you're like they are more upset about you dissing that platform than like if somebody from the same camp as you, if they were being like racist or something, or if they were sending like dick pics or something like that kind of thing. Like people get more upset about that. And the same goes for like celebrity worship. It takes like the Chappell Rowan situation. Chappell Rowan's like, stop stalking me, you fucking freaks. And people were mad at her about that. I'm like, no, she's real. I would have told people to go, but like, I can't be saying crazy shit, right? But yeah, I think celebrity culture and celebrity worship is a big thing. I think again, like we don't know these people, you know. You can like somebody, you can like the things that they say, you can like really appreciate them and like the persona that they put forth. Your morals. I mean, they could be saying everything that aligns with your morals. Even if like there are plenty of grifters in particular where you're like, damn, I know that they don't believe that shit, but they can say it because it's like people only want to hear what they want to hear. Okay. And they want to give money to the people who reflect their values back to them. And it really is like a lot of that. So the completionist with him, what did he do? Something about like charity fraud or some shit, right? He did that shit. And then Mr. Beast is like apparently like a psychopath. And then Dr. Disrespect messaging minors. And we've had so many YouTubers. I mean, okay, saying so many is a lot. We've had maybe like 10, 15 YouTubers and like the sea of hundreds of YouTubers that are actually big and exist. It's like a tiny percentage, but it's like still there's like it's like a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like it feels like a lot because it's just like damn, like I really like this person as a YouTuber. Like I like their content and now they're only for them to turn out to be scumbags. But I also think that when it comes to certain content creators, I feel or not even just content creators, like celebrities too, or people that you just like idolize, I feel like there are signs that something's off, but people just ignore it because they like them, you know? Like take I'm not gonna name any names, but like there are certain like people, celebrities, people who have a lot of money and influence who have said and done weird things, and I'm just like, that's super fucked up, but okay. And it's like it's always like random little comments here and there, right? And then it's like then they get exposed for something major and you're like and I'm like, "Okay, that fucking makes perfect sense." Like they're weird. Like they've been saying weird shit. But the other people are completely fucking shocked and it's just like, "Okay." Like I said, that shit with Shane Dawson. I was like, "Oh no, that fucking checks out." Like he's always been a freak. That shit with Colin Badginger, that shit checks out. She's always been a freak, all right? These people, they say and do certain things. It's like even with me, I'm sure that there are things that I have said where it's like, you know, if some crazy shit comes out about me in the future, at least some of you will be like, you know what, that actually makes sense because she did say XYZ. And at the time, I was like, that's kind of weird, but whatever, you know, like that kind of thing. So you never know. You never really fucking know. I think people say more and expose more about themselves than they actually realize that they're doing, I think. So yeah. Okay, that's it. Oh, good show though. Singer, did you enjoy the show?
Oh, very much so.
Oh, that's good. Wukong, listen, I hate to say this, but your girl's broke right now, brother. I'm trying to save up to get my own place. So I set like a budget for myself. And that budget is beating my ass. Like, I'm not gonna fucking hold you. You know what I'm saying? I'm really so yeah, so I'm like not spending my money on like anything, right? So yeah. Yeah, Boeing, Intel, General Electronic. Yes, American industries are starting to fall apart. 737 Max is a dud. I think I was on that too a few weeks. My last trip, right? Okay, so anyway, we just get out of here. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Shout out to everyone who listens later. Shout out to everyone who listens and leave comments later. Shout out to everyone. What am I even saying right now? Shout out to everyone who listens after the fact. Shout out to everyone who was here today. Appreciate you guys hanging out in the chat. Shout out to all my channel member supporters. Shout out to all the channel members who leave topics. Shout out to Singer for being here. Sorry I couldn't hear you for part of that, my little tirade. My bad.
That's all right.
What did you say about the Wayback thing, by the way, that I missed?
Oh, it catalogs certain websites. It doesn't catalog everything. I think you have to submit what you want cataloged because like for some mods and stuff, for example, like the website no longer exists, so you could go onto the Wayback Machine and download the mod from the
Oh,
website.
cool.
Yeah, it's a handy tool. I mean, it does record everything though. So
Okay, that's good to know. I used to think that the Wayback Machine was like everything. Like there was just nothing that you could hide, right? But that's good to know. It's interesting.
well, some things you can't because there's like so much stuff to it. Like for
Yeah.
example, Twitter. There's like billions of accounts, right? So you're gonna have to record every single account. Yeah,
No, that makes perfect sense.
it's good for websites though. Like if a
Yeah.
website no longer exists, go into the Wayback Machine, surf the website.
Okay. Is there any actually we can use this later. Okay, so anyway, guys, thanks for having us. Yeah, I won't be back. I won't be back. Okay. I won't be here next week, but I will be back. I will be back on the 21st. We will be back, I would hope. Yeah. You got anything to say?
Well, nope. Play Space Marine 2. Fantastic game.
Alrighty. Thanks, guys. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Peace.